Hello, 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 and welcome to the Eyes of Life show. I am your host, Yolo Schubert. Today we are going to have an interesting show. Today's show is going to be about how the Gilchrists, the Talberts, and the Newome families all connect to one another. Due to slavery, a lot of the families don't realize how they are connected. Some are through siblings, some are through parents. And today I would like to show you a brief synopsis on how you are related. And as you can see on the screen that I have here, it's showing you our Gilchrist family portion of my ancestry tree. So when I decided to do this was because of a family member of mine, Marie decided to say, because I think you should show some of the people how they are related, because a lot of people that are her age and my age does not know how they are related. They don't have a clue. So I want to start with um, our ancestor, Rachel. So Rachel is one of our ancestors that was owned by the Gilchrist family. So Rachel is also the daughter to a Ghana woman who came here as a slave from Ghana. So you can see here's her mama. We don't know what her name is as of right now, but I am working on it. And here's Rachel. Rachel also has a sibling by the name of Majesty. Okay. One day we will go into Majesty's line, and that will be an interesting portion on how Harriet Tubman comes into play. So right now we're going to talk about Rachel and John Gilchrist. Well, John Gilchrist was an Irishman who was part of the quest to the New World from Ireland, along with a multitude of other Gilchrist family members. They were two ships that set sail to the New World, which was the United States. John and his brother Malcolm, they landed in North Carolina. His brother Nimrod, right here, landed in South Carolina. These are the two important family connections that we have that link our families together. So Rachel has several kids, okay? Three of them with John Gilchrist. One son is Jacob. Jacob is the oldest child. And then Jane. Then it's Vivian. Then it's Andy. Then it's Peter. Well, a lot of us don't realize that Jacob, Jane, Vivian, and Tandy and Peter were related. A lot of us have not done our history that far back. So when you look at that, that is how the Gilchrist family and the Talberts connect. So when I start looking at how they connect, I want to take a look at Jacob's children. Okay, so these are all Jacob's children and their wives. Okay, so Samuel was the oldest child. We're trying to find out exactly who Samuel's mother was, but he was raised up in a household with Jacob and his wife Agnes. And then Agnes and Jacob's first child is Jacob. He married the cartilage. And then here's Peter. He married Sarah. Then here's Spencer. He married Marianne Gilchrist. And he would married Edith Chamberlain, David. And then here's Jane. See? And this is my line. Chloe Gilchrist, who married Charles Key. So if you are a descendant of any one of these lines, then you're going to definitely be related to the Talberts. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because they all at some point was willed there. They all at some point was on that plantation. Okay. And then you're going to really find out how when you get to Jacob's wife, okay, how her siblings and her mother and her aunts were all at some point on the Talbert plantation. So Jacob, and just to give you a little synopsis here, his wife is Agnes. Now, the reason why she's spelling her name Gilchrist is because the Gilchrist didn't really know how to spell their name once it came to the States. So when the census tape and the people there was writing the name out, they wrote it and spelled it how it sounded. So that's why Gilchrist and Gilchrist are the same. Now, Agnes, her mother name was Chloe. Now, I told you this is going to show you how the Gilchrist, Talbert, and Newome families all connect. So as you can see, Jacob's sister, Vivian, she was with an enslaver named James A. Talbert. Okay. And then his brother Tandy, he also was with Minerva Talbert. And then you have Peter, his brother. Okay, so now let's go into his wife, Agnes. So when we go into Agnes, okay, now we're going to see Agnes' mother. Now here's Agnes' mother. Her name is Chloe Newome Gilchrist. And the reason why it's Chloe Newome Gilchrist is because she was with the Newsomes and then she was eventually given to the Gilchrist family. And when you go to her parents, Ag Newome, who was a slave owned by Solomon Newome. And the reason why I know these things is because everyone who DNA that I've done all have a DNA match to these enslaver families. So Chloe is how Gilchrist line connect. Okay. And then we're going to look at Ag's other child, her other kids. Let's take a look at them. And one thing you can know is they played the name game. What they did was they sometimes named their siblings, children, they siblings named their children after their siblings. When I'm looking at Ag's children, you can see quite a bit of the children here. Okay, so here is Fortin. Here's Hampton. Here's Massall. Here's Fortin. He married a Jane Mackey. And then here's Ansel. Ansel Talbert had children with Harriet Stone. So this is a line that we all are looking at. Okay, and here is Amy, here's Clarissa, and Zafia. So when I look at all these children, a lot of them don't even know they exist. A lot of us don't even know that, wow, these are all sibling children and we are all related. And sometimes, depending on your generational line, your DNA may not always link to these siblings. But I guarantee you, if multiple family members start taking, we will begin to bring our family back to unity where slavery has torn us apart. Amy went to a Tucker. Clarissa, her sister, went to a Tucker. Harriet went to the Stone family. Okay? And when you look at Harriet and Ansel, okay, there you go. Now, this is Harriet's children. Here's her son, James. I'm sorry, that's Ansel's son, Tony. Okay, so Tony is a very interesting person because these are his wives. Okay, and when you look at Tony, Tony also married Mariah, Delphia, and one of his wives is supposed to be could possibly be another Talbert, okay, or they could have been on another plantation that was eventually given to the Talberts. So when you start looking at that, you gotta think, okay, where were these women at first? Because a lot of times you're carrying a surname, but you're not really from that actual surname. You were given to that family, or you were willed to that family, or at some point there was a labor contract and you were given to that family at some point. So when I look at Tony Talbert, okay, long and behold, these are his children. Now, we have quite a bit of connections to Nero Talbert and Margaret Yieldale's children. Okay, and a lot of people don't realize that Tony Talbert is the son of Harriet Stone. Well, Harriet was also mulatto. So Harriet was actually looked at as a white woman. Because of this, a lot of people didn't realize that Harriet Stone was his mother. So when you look at them in the 1870 census, okay, why would a white woman be living in a household where there's a black man that's the head of the household? So I'm going to just show you actually how and why there's and I'm going to still do some work on Mr. Tony Talbert, because of me having so much to do with our family. And because Edgefield is such a large family, and by the way, everybody that's in Edgefield is definitely going to be related, because of so many of the family connections. And here you see Tony Talbert, 63, and here's 77. And that's just a cover letter. So when you're looking at things, you want to look at the actual census record just to make sure you got the name exactly right. And one thing about the 1870 census, it didn't tell you whether wife or mother all the time, or grandchild. Okay, so here you see Tony Talbert, and who is he with? Harriet Stone. So a lot of people have not even looked at that. A lot of people haven't even realized that that's who she was. And a lot of people did not realize that Harriet Stone was also daughter of Ag Newsom. So, and because of that is why we have to now realize how we are all are going to be connected at some point to the Talberts. So when I start looking at Harriet Stone, now Harriet Stone is my sixth grade aunt. Okay. Because why is she my sixth grade aunt? Because I descend from sister Chloe, and I descend from her sister Chloe Newsom, Gilchrist. And I'm going to show you how. Here is her sister Chloe. And Chloe just so happened to have been with John Gilchrist. Okay. She has four daughters with him. And we know this because we pull his son's children. So we know that he was the father to her children. Okay. So here is Agnes, which is my fifth great grandmother, and Jacob, my fifth great grandfather, and their children. And as I showed you, that I also come from Chloe, Gilchrist, and Charles Key. So this is how you find so many families that are going to be connected, and how they're going to also, once at some point, everybody that's coming from these lines are going to also link into the Garretts. They're going to link into the Keys. They're going to link into the Harrisons, the Chamberlains, the Martins. Um, they're going to all link in there. And you're going to be wondering, how am I related to these people? They're going to link it to the Peterson line. They're going to link it to the Brunson line. All these families connect. All these families at some point married one another. And believe me, it was a small area. So they really look back at when the children started having children and then they started marrying one another. It's a big they did not know that they were related. Hi, love. How are you, cousin Renee? I'm glad you're joining me. Um, a lot of people don't realize that. It takes a lot of reading wills, and I love to read wills because wills tell a story, and a lot of times the wills tell a story on where your parents went or where their children went. And sometimes it'll also tell you who that enslaver child married and who that enslaver was married to, and if that enslaver's wife remarried and took the slaves with them, and the slaves that went to their daughters or their sons and their sons' wives, if their sons had a wife. So this is also how somewhat like, for instance, I also go to the Williams line, which links to Moses Williams. Moses Williams was an enslaved man who had 45 children. And I'm also a descendant of that line, Moses Williams, with two of his daughters. So, and they're both on my maternal line. So, needless to say, I have a lots of cousins out there that we have failed to even know. We don't even know each other. We have never connected with each other, and a lot of them are starting to take their DNA on Ancestry, and multiple family members are starting to pick up multiple different children, and it's a beautiful thing to find out these connections and how they connect to one another. And it's amazing to show how we connect. So as I was telling you that this is my line, and I come from Chloe, and Chloe is the wife to Charles Key. So when I click on Charles Key, okay, Charles Key is the son of Ida Williams and William Key. Now, these are two families that I also have DNA connection to. Each one of us all pick up Mr. William Key. We pick up his children, okay, Alici, which is William Key's mother, and this is his father. His mother's enslaver. And then he Moses Williams' daughter. I didn't meet his mother up there, although yes, I know who her mom is, but I have not put her up there yet. So this is one way I also link to Moses Williams. And then he has a daughter by the name of Violet. And Violet is who I also descend from, Violet Williams and Peter Peterson. This is my great grandmother's line here, and this is my third great grandfather's line here. So once again, multiple ways we are now linking to one another in Edgefield, South Carolina. And make no mistake, in Edgefield, South Carolina, as well as Abbeville, McCormick, that came about after the 1900s. So when you look at people that's most likely in Abbeville, Edgefield, Union, Lauren, Spartanburg, these counties, and there's another county that I'm not calling, but they were all part of something called the Old 96 District. And just about everybody from that Old 96 District is going to be related, because all those enslavers that were there at some point ended up with somebody that was a sibling or a mother or a child to somebody that was on someone else's plantation. So when I start looking at Chloe and Charles, this is my line. And this is Delia Garrett and Jeremiah Key. And when I look at Delia Garrett and Jeremiah Key, okay, they also married into, they siblings married into other lines, like the Morgan family, okay, Biddy and her sister Annie, the Price family, okay, and then, long and behold, Henry married my third great grandmother husband's sister. So this is a lot of intertwining that went on. And here's the Key family, Adeline. She married into the Cartledge family. So all these families are connecting to one another. Okay. And when I go into Delia, look at Delia, I'm going to show you again how we all intertwine again. So when you look at Delia father is Harry, her mother is Sarah. Okay, so when you start looking at her sister Fanny, who did she marry? Lee Gilchrist. Gilchrist is going to take you right back into Jacob and Agnes Gilchrist, which is also going to link you back to those Talberts. That's going to also link you back to the Gilchrist, and Newsomes. So once again, another way to know that you're going to be related to these people. And you're going to have multiple different families that you're going to enter with. And then here's her sister Violet. She married into the Scurry line. Okay. And that Scurry line is also linked to a Morgan line, also linked to the Colbreths. And once again, about the Morgan line also goes back to the Newsom line. Why? Because Solomon Newsom's daughter married a Morgan, which was a pertinent Morgan person who had slaves and owned slaves. And then Delia's her brother, William turns around and marries Mary Peterson, which also is related to what line? My great grandmother's father's line. So that's how we all connect. And then here's Charles. He married into the Brown family. And then his brother John married into the Cochran family. So once again, each one of these family members also are going to connect at some point into the Talberts, the Gilchrists, because their children married into those lines. So now let's go over to my third great grandmother's old brother, her oldest brother. Okay, her brother is Harry married Pinky Talbert. So when we start looking at Uncle Harry, okay, and here's Uncle Harry's children, Amanda and Solomon. So when Amanda and Solomon, I'm saying we're already related at some point, to the Talberts. But now we're going to still link into some more Talberts. Okay, so then you have Solomon children. He married a Bland, which is going to go back to those Brunsons. I guarantee it. And Amanda married a Wash. Okay, so those are lines that that's going to also take you back into the Talberts. And then when I go into Pinky Talbert, okay, and once again, remember, we're showing how we all link into these different families. Okay, so Pinky Talbert goes back to Lucinda Talbert and Luke Talbert. Okay, and Lucinda Talbert is also going to go back to Vivian Gilchrist. Okay, that is not even in here just yet, but I'm in the process of putting that in here. But just to give you an idea on how all our families intertwine and how they all at some point become related to one another, and how they don't even know that they're related to the same folks and they're all living in the same town, yet they don't know that they are related. And once again, when you go over and you look at Delia's brother, okay, she has a brother that's the last born child of Sarah. He also turned around and married into the same Gilchrist family. So now let's take a look at her oldest brother. Okay. And we already know that Joaquin's mother is going to be a Gilchrist, and her Delia's brother Henry. Okay. And her brother Andrew. Her brother Andrew turns around and married Daisy Gilchrist, which also goes back to who? Jacob. So this is we all are going to link to the Talberts and how we all are going to be connected at some point to the Newsomes. So, and believe it or not, we have multiple DNA matches to every last one of these people that we are mentioning, our ancestors that we are mentioning. Joanne, I came across your mom's DNA to multiple family member connections. Believe my uncle, cousin Ella, cousin Robin, and we're picking up Nero's family. And I had no idea that we're picking them up until I started going through our common DNA matches. And that's when I realized that I was picking up Nero's line. And I pick up Fortunes. I pick up Ansel's. So when I tell you, when I'm looking at these people, okay, and I'm saying, wow, we have so much to learn about one another till we don't have a clue that we're all related. And remember, I told you there was an Olive Newsome. So Olive Newsome also married a Morgan. Okay, she's the daughter of Solomon Newsome. Okay, she is also a descendant of another person that does genealogy that I know, and she's going to kill me if I can't think of her name right now. But she's an awesome researcher. But don't be mad, charge it to my mind. I can't think of your name right now, not my heart. So this is why I say we are all going to link up. And the reason why I say that we are all connected to the Gilchrist line is because of this. So when you look at John Gilchrist family, and people want to know, well, how and why did this, you know, Gilchrist connection come about? You know, who was the people? Why are they marrying each other? So when you start looking at John's children, okay, John had a son named Abram, and Abram's daughter married the Talbert. So when she married a Talbert, now when John passes away, his slaves go to her. And that's why the Talberts and the Gilchrists become connected. So here's his daughter, Elizabeth. She married James. And then his other daughter married Jabez. This is how so many of us that were on the Gilchrist plantation actually got on the Talbert plantation. Some of them came from other places. Yes, they all did not come from the Gilchrist plantation. They all didn't come from the Newsome plantation. They all didn't come from the Stones. So some of them came maybe from the Yildales. Okay, they came from multiple other places, and they ended up on the Talbert plantation. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. It gave you somewhat of an idea on how we all connect to one another through the Gilchrist and Talbert families, along with the Newsomes. And if you have any questions, please send me an inbox on my Yolanda Schubert's Facebook, or you can leave me a message right here on the Eyes of Life show, and I will happily inbox you back, and we can go into further details if you like. And I can share some documents with you if you need to. But please get to know your ancestors, get to know their story, get to know their struggles. And I guarantee you would be more entwined of wanting to know and find out who you are than just saying, oh, those people did not know me. They don't know nothing of me. And I guarantee you, you won't regret it, because you'll get to see their stories. You'll get to see their struggles. You'll see the things that they went through, the things that they did, and what they put up with while going through slavery. So we shall all honor them at some point. But I would like to thank you for joining me on the Eyes of Life show today. It has been a joy to take a look at our past and our history, and to know where we come from and to know who we are. It's been a pleasure. I truly, truly enjoyed it. So, once again, thank you. And if you have any questions, please leave me a message. And I will promise you, I will return your message. I'll call you, leave me your number. You can inbox me. I will definitely call you back without a problem. You all have a wonderful and blessed night. And thank you again for watching the Eyes of Life show.